Earthlings, and welcome back to Legendary Tabletop. Today we are doing a simple, fun little craft to add some narrative to your sci-fi games of Warhammer 40k, one-page rules, Stargrave, games of that nature. And I found these really cool landing pods that are from the not Bud Lightyear. Bud Lightyear would be like the half-baked version of that, which is coming out on Netflix this fall. Bud Lightyear. Get high with him. Anyways, yes, so we have these Buzz Lightyear toys, and we're using them to make sci-fi objective markers. And I'm beginning with some MDF and some scrap XPS foam here. You guys got to please bear with me today. I am recovering from the disease that shall not be named, and but doing okay, doing just fine. And lost my taste though. That stinks. If you guys comment below if you have also gotten the disease that shall not be named and you can't taste or smell anything. It's weird. But anyways, hot gluing some pieces of foam here to the MDF, and we're basically trying to create a sort of some tiny little impact craters, and so you could have some sort of narrative to your game. You know that you're rescuing these pods, or there's a fugitive. There's a lot of different ways to make this interesting for your tabletop games, and we're making 6 of these, but you could make more, and you could make them into different themes that are not sci-fi related. But in this video today, we are going to be doing that. So I'm trying to create sort of little pockets where I can shove the little drop pods into, and to make them look like, obviously, that they've crash landed, that sort of vibe. Hot glue in here, hot gluing, and I'm also just test fitting a little bit just to make sure that I don't do anything too crazy that I can't fix. And yeah, so here are the patterns that I've chosen, and now we're going to start just simply hot gluing the pods into their respective crash sites. And hot glue is okay here because you'll see later we're going to do a bunch of more steps in order to make these pieces a little more solid. And you can see here some of the great detail on these pieces, and a couple of them I've cut in half here in order to make them appear like they're submerged a little bit more, so that each one is just a little bit different. And I love the backs of these. They have this nice little designs and details on there. They look kind of like the escape pod from the original Star Wars that R2 and C-3PO escape on. So yes, here we have our pieces, our drop pods, all in place. There are some gaps, and it does look a little bit silly right now with the foam, but we are going to do a little bit of sculpting here with the foam, and then we're gonna use some caulking to cover and fill the gaps. So now I have a fresh utility knife here, and I'm going to start carving the rocks, the dirt, the earth, whatever it is that this represents, to kind of look a little bit more natural, a little bit more organic, getting rid of those square edges that let us know that this is foam, and then also kind of working on the slant in order to make the landing look realistic. And there's only kind of so much where we can go with the carving, but we are going to fill in the gaps with one of my favorite, oh look at that, it still opens. We're going to keep that too, because that's going to be a cool little narrative thing. Maybe we want to hide a little guy in there, and yeah, hide your little boys inside these Bud Lightyear drop pods. Oh my lord. Anyways, so All right, son. Here we go. We're going to take just some nice cheap silicone caulk, stuff it dries it cures pretty well in 6-7 hours, but you want to just leave this overnight. I like to do this, right before bedtime, and then I can let it dry and then come back in the morning and it'll be totally cured. And so just putting a little bit of caulk in there. You don't want to touch this stuff with your hands while it's wet. And if you do, just wash your hands immediately. It won't kill you, but you don't want to get this on your skin, so glove it up. And then you can just use a little bit of water with the silicone caulking to start to put it into the gaps of the foam, and then smooth out some of the edges in order to make this look like it's one piece of rock or one piece of dirt, whatever it is. And covering all the little foam surfaces, just using a little finger, a little bit of water, and before you know it, we have this funny snow looking clump. You can still see a little bit of the foam, but we're going to go one more step here with some rocks and sand, that sort of thing, in order to sell the impact a little bit more. And yeah, these are starting to look like something. I like the combination, especially of the caulking with the foam, because you get a very solid, sturdy piece. You could chuck this across a room and you might lose, some of the rocks and stuff on it, but it's pretty durable. And then with the foam, it's light. So, and it's just kind of heavy enough. I think that it rests on the table really well. So now just some Elmer's glue across the surfaces. And we're going to use a little bit of sand, a little bit of rocks, etc. to create the ground cover. And that's going to work even more to kind of fill in some of the gaps there in order to make this look a little bit more realistic and hide some of the foam pieces. And we're using different gradients of sizes of rocks here, and tapping to just kind of make sure that they begin to rest in the places where they would naturally rest. And now I'm filling in the other parts that I didn't hit with the rocks, in between the rocks, with some sand. And you could use like baking soda for this, that works too. It all just depends on maybe what type of board you're trying to match this with. And generally a lot of my terrain stuff I use sand, so I like to just kind of keep it as uniformed as possible. And yeah, here we go. We've let the rocks and the sand and everything dry. The caulking has cured. Oh, there's my tummy. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Anyways, so now we're going to move on to sealing everything. We're going to use that sort of black magic craft method, though we're just using glue with this. We don't have any Mod Podge right now, so just some black paint, some PVA glue, a little bit of water to help the flow. And this will help to seal the rocks and the stones in there, and then also give us a base for our paint job. And off camera, what I did too with these plastic pieces before I installed the little drop pods into the thing. A lot of times, if you're using plastic toys, and even just regular miniatures that we buy, usually there is some sort of release agent from the factory. So you want to wash that release agent off the plastic before you try to paint it, because it'll make the painting and the priming a little bit difficult. So yeah, off camera we've washed the releasing agent off the toys, and then now we're just gonna do a little base coat. And then while our base coat's drying, I'm just grabbing some cheap craft paint from my little painting drawer here, and grabbing a few colors, and we're just gonna go with sort of a green, gray, brown palette to match the grass board that I'm going to use these on. So starting with the earth, and just a nice brown here, a greenish type brown, a little bit of a desaturated brown, And always remember, when you see acrylic paints, generally they are very strong when they're wet, and then when they dry they're going to die down with the saturation a little bit. Now I'm going to hit some of the rock edges with some gray here, and just being a little bit sporadic with the way that I'm dabbing the color on there, and that will make things appear more natural, and it is kind of relaxing, a little soothing activity here on your weekend afternoon. So yeah, we've done the gray here, and now we're moving on to some nice greens to match that green board. And if these pieces are going to be used for games, so a couple different greens here. I have like a little light green and then a dark green, and then we're also gonna put a little bit of flock here, but we want to make sure that this kind of looks like, a little bit desolate. The stuff wouldn't be growing here where this drop pot has slammed into the earth. And then now we're just taking some metallic paint and wiping off most of it from the brush and doing a little bit of dry brush on our droppy pods here, and that's a nice little effect. We catch all the little surfaces and edges, and it does a really good job of selling that metallic. And a couple dabs of some brighter browns to highlight some of the dirt there. So just a light brown here, just like a brown mixed with a tiny bit of white, and then we're going to add just a little bit of this old school kind of railroad flocking. It's not as cool as the Tufts, and I don't have a static grass applicator, but a lot of my terrain has a little bit of this stuff on here, so this kind of helps to match everything with the other terrain pieces that I have. And I bought the stuff, so I'm gonna use it. Alright, so there is just a little bit of tan dry brushing happening here, just to unify all of these elements on the ground, and to blend a lot of these little kind of dabs that I've dabbed onto here. And gonna dry brush all those pieces, and then we're gonna do just a nice wash to seal everything in. Just some medium, a little bit of dish soap, some black and brown ink, and no oil paint wash or anything. This is just a regular acrylic ink wash, and that'll also help to blend everything down and really make it look grim dark, as they say. Yeah, and you have to say it in that voice. And yes, just a couple more details on here. We're gonna let the wash dry. We're gonna let it flow a little bit, get into those crevices, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of white paint, and I'm gonna paint little kind of hazard lights on these, so that it looks like they've crashed, but there's a little still some power going on here. And we're just gonna do a very quick and easy OSL, and I'm just hitting the little edges here with this really nice Vallejo white to make the glow appear. And the light is obviously that little piece in the center, and I'll let the white paint dry after I hit all these objective markers. And you'll see I have my palette here, and I just take some nice paint, and I'm diluting it with a ton of water, almost like 75% water, creating a little glaze here. And after that white paint dries, I just glaze different colors over the drop pods, and then basically there you have it. You have your objective markers. Now you can find these online. I'll put a link below. You might have to search a little bit for them, and but you can just create something on your own. You could, if you wanted to, make these out of foam yourself. But thanks for watching, and like and subscribe, and we're going to roll that beautiful bean footage.